Everyone knows the side dishes are just as important as the entree. And this is one of the staple weeknight side dishes in my family's repertoire. Now this is a foolproof way to make fluffy breaded potatoes in just one baking dish. No parboiling, no deep frying, no nonsense. Just your oven or air fryer and one important trick. Now let's get into it. So obviously the first thing we want to do is settle on a potato. Now I like to use Yukon Golds for this recipe due to their size and their texture. You can experiment with the potato that you use, but if you want to keep it simple, just go with the Yukon Golds. We're going to cut these potatoes into wedges, meaning we're going to cut them in half and then into quarters. If you end up with a really large potato like this one here, you can give it one extra cut across the width of it and just treat it like two regular sized Yukon Gold potatoes. We're gonna get ourselves a casserole dish and we're looking to fill it up with potatoes until we can't fit any more in. Keep in mind, if you want the absolute crispiest version of these potatoes, then you want to leave yourself a little bit more room than this so the hot air from your oven or air fryer can really get all around the potatoes and roast them properly. In my case, I like having softer, fluffy potatoes with a crispy breaded top, so I really just pack them in. Now next, you'll want to add in some baby carrots. These things are so convenient for this dish because they're just ready to go right out of the bag. If you don't want to use baby carrots, you can use any carrots you have and just cut them down to size. You can also experiment with different root vegetables here. Any will do. Next, we're going to use one whole medium onion, sliced into strips. The onion is going to fill in all the cracks in our baking dish and they'll caramelize beautifully by the time the potatoes are done. At this point, I like to go over everything with a drizzle of olive oil and season with salt. The dish will be in the oven for about an hour, so the olive oil will make sure things are roasting and browning rather than burning. This applies to the potatoes and the carrots, but most specifically the onions, which have a very high sugar content. Now you could move on to the breading stage here, but there's one ingredient that we can add that'll take this dish to the next level, and that ingredient is capital ham sausage. One of the best things about capital ham sausage is that it's a naturally smoked and fully cooked product, which means we don't have to treat it like we would any other raw meat. Being able to slice them up and drop it into our potato dish here is not only convenient, but a great way to add a spike of protein to our otherwise very vegetable forward side dish. And we don't have to worry about how it cooks in the oven, it's just ready to go right out of the package. Now with all that set aside, we're gonna start putting together our breading mix. This is really easy to do and has minimal ingredients. First, we're gonna start with some plain unseasoned breadcrumbs in a bowl. Next, we're gonna add some grated Parmigiano cheese, as well as a couple tablespoons of dried parsley, some garlic powder, and some salt to taste. Give this all a mix, and here comes the secret. We're gonna drizzle in some olive oil while mixing the breading so that it's all evenly coated and moistened. The olive oil is gonna do three things for us at the same time. First, it's gonna make sure the breading doesn't burn in the oven, but instead browns and crisps nicely. Second, the olive oil is gonna cause the breading to form little clumps that once cooked get super crispy and delicious. And third, the olive oil is gonna help the breading stick to our vegetables and ham sausage when we go to coat them. And we won't have to worry about anything falling off or a big burnt mess in the bottom of the pan. We're then gonna take our breadcrumb mix that we've made and apply it liberally to our veggies and ham sausage, almost like it's a seasoning rub. Press and pack it into all the crevices and make sure to leave a liberal coating on top as well. Sometimes I do this step separately in a bowl where I toss all the potatoes in the breadcrumbs before adding them to the baking dish. But on a lazy day where you don't want to do any extra work or any extra dishes, this works just fine. If you're worried about it being too dry, you can give it one last drizzle of olive oil, and finally, we're gonna stick our baking dish in the oven, covered, for anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour at 400 degrees. You'll know it's done when the potatoes are fork tender and the breading's golden brown. If you enjoyed this recipe and would like to see more, check out our page or our website, capitalfinemeats.ca/recipes, where we post all of our food content, written recipes, and more. If you liked our video, let us know in the comments or by clicking the like button. Thanks for watching Capital Kitchen, and I'll see you next time.